Hello everyone, so my name is ALadnier and today I wanted to give you a presentation about comprehension terms and how they relate to comprehension instruction in the classroom. So first off, a little bit about me. My name is ALadnier and I'm originally from JS, Mississippi, which is about an hour and a half from Hattiesburg. Currently, I am a student at the University of Southern Mississippi, and I'm supposed to graduate this December of 2025. Right now, I am an elementary education major with a science minor as well as an art minor, and I am currently teaching at Timms Elementary as a teacher assistant for kindergarten. So here is an overview of the terms that we will be taking a look at today. I'm just going to run through them very quickly. We have comprehension strategies, text structures, informational text, literary text, metacognition, reading comprehension, summarizing, Bloom's revised taxonomy, and story elements. In each of these slides, I'm going to give you a definition, an example, and just tell you a little bit about how it relates to instruction in the classroom. So first off, we have comprehension strategies. These are techniques used to gain a deeper understanding of the material you're reading. A good example of this would be having your students predict what will happen next in the story, having them ask questions about the text, drawing something to visualize the text, or just using their background knowledge to make a connection and familiarize themselves with the text. This relates to the instruction because comprehension strategies are really important. They're little tools that readers can use so they can understand what's going on in the story instead of recalling facts or simply memorizing things that happened. They can tap into their critical thinking skills and figure things out as they go. For text structures, they are frameworks that a text is written within. There are 5 common types of text structures, including descriptional text, chronological sequencing, compare and contrast, cause and effect, problem and solution. For example, a recipe would be a sequencing text because you're going in order. First, add the flour. Second, add the eggs, and so on. So this text structures could relate to comprehension instruction because when a student can easily recognize text structures, they can think about what kind of information they're going to be learning about. If they see that it's a chronological sequencing, they know that they are going to be learning how to do something. If they know that it is descriptional, they know that they are learning an informational text, and so on and so forth. We have informational text, which is text that the main goal is informing the reader. You are reading to learn something. An example of this could be a news article or textbook, and it relates to instruction because it can help build the student's comprehension because they are learning how to extract the information and put together the facts by themselves from reading the text. Literary text includes stories, poems, and it is mainly made for enjoyment, your entertainment, or even educational purposes. And a lot of times it includes characters, the setting, a plot, and often a theme. So whenever you're thinking about these features, I would think about novels or short stories or poems, like we said. And teachers can use these short stories to teach skills. You could even use it to identify story elements or some of the other comprehension strategies that we used earlier. We talked about making predictions or visualizing things. Metacognition. So this is whenever you're thinking about your own thinking. So you're being aware of what you're understanding and asking yourself questions. So, for example, whenever you're reading the common story, The Rainbow Fish, the teacher could prompt metacognition by asking, Why do you think the other fish aren't playing with rainbow fish anymore? And then the students can go on and ask themselves, they can think to themselves and remember what happened earlier on in the story to help them understand why the fish don't want to play with rainbow fish anymore. So this can encourage the students to self-monitor themselves while they're reading and promote effective reading strategies. Reading comprehension is the ability to understand and interpret what is being read. So after reading a story, you could have the students retell the main events in their own words, and this just reinforces that they understood what happened in the story. So in the classroom, having students retell checks their understanding of the material and can strengthen their memory and help them visualize the story and the structure of the text. Summarizing is condensing a text to its main ideas. So, for example, a very common book, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, a summary would be a caterpillar hatches and eats a lot of food each day of the week until he gets very full and makes a cocoon and then becomes a butterfly. So I left out all of the minor details of what types of food he ate. So this relates to the classroom because the students can identify the main ideas and improve their understanding and key information from the story so that they don't focus and get caught up on the small details that may not be so important. Bloom's revised taxonomy is a framework that categorizes levels of thinking into 6 main stages. We have remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So after reading an article of butterflies, you could have the students write a short summary and about the butterfly life cycle. This would be an example because they're remembering what they read, they're understanding and applying it by writing the short summary, and then they can analyze what they wrote, evaluate it, and then they can also make a concept map that could be done or the list creating. Okay, and Bloom's revised taxonomy supports comprehension by pushing the students through the different levels of their thinking. So they are not just memorizing the details like we talked about earlier, but they're using their critical thinking skills. And for example, with the butterfly life cycle, they're thinking about what is coming next. Lastly, we have story elements. So every story has the basic parts of a narrative of characters, the setting, plot, the problem, and solution. So the common story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, students could list the characters, which would be Goldilocks and the Three Bears, the setting, which would be the cabin, the problem, that Goldilocks couldn't find the right soup or chairs, and how the problem was solved. And identifying story elements could really help the students organize the information that they're trying to attain. These are my works cited if anybody would like to go take a look at that. And I'm so happy that I had a chance to share comprehension terms with you today, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.